Welcome to the second part of the video. In this part, we'll learn how to attach that piece of canvas, which is more than 1 by 1 feet, as you can see, and we'll attach that. We'll stick it with the help of adhesive. In this case, I use Fevicol because it's very good in good of an adhesive. We'll pour it into the container, and it's not going to be just the adhesive. It's going to be with the adhesive. It's going to be some water because you don't want a very sticky. You want rather sticky plus somewhat fluidy. The viscosity of that fluid should be well and nice, and we'll mix them together with the help of a brush because we'll brush it as because the material that we have in hand is a brush, and I think a brush is a very good way to apply that. And we will apply that glue over the plywood side of the area. First we'll apply towards the plywood because we want that plywood to be well stuck over the piece of plywood, and after that we'll start sticking the other part, the backward part of that wood stick. And as you can see now, when you make there's no correct way or the wrong way of applying glue over the uh, plywood, and you will place it accordingly over the, and you'll let it rest, let it stick, let it apply some pressure over it so it will stick. And what you'll do next is you will make cuts. Now please uh, see how I am making cuts, because this is a very good way of making cuts over your canvas to make sure to attach, and this is a very important part, a very important way of cutting that canvas. So we'll have cut a tangential or a, not a perpendicular, tangential line over the, and we'll cut the extra part now. As you can see, okay, this is the extra part we have cut, and from this side also we have taken the extra part, from that side also, and further on from this side also, and we'll continue this process from, you don't have to frame it. So the side part of the canvas will allow to continue that landscape, and we'll cut every corner. And as you can see now, we'll start applying glue. Don't apply glue on that wood stick. The absorbance of that particular glue with water is more on that paper than the wood. Firstly, I have applied on the wood because I want the canvas to stick on the wood, because if I apply, I don't have the appropriate 1 by 1 borders, and if I mark with the help of a sketch pen, it's gonna look dirty on the canvas. So firstly we did what we applied the glue on the plywood so that it would stick. Now we have cut it the extra part, and now we'll apply it on the canvas paper, and we'll stick. Most of the times what people do a mistake is they'll stick the backward side first, then there's going to be a bumpy or a very musty area the side of that uh, canvas. And I think we are done with the third side, and you're going to stretch as much as you can because you want to stretch it. You want to make sure that the frontal part of the canvas is very stretched, it is very stretched out. All right. So because if it's not stretched and it's very, so again it's gonna be a very wavy canvas. So you don't want the canvas to be wavy. You want it to be smooth, and so that your brush can navigate very smoothly. And we'll take the extra part of that particular canvas that is left out. We won't let any part stick inside the canvas. We want that to be very clean. We want so that we can attach the nail properly. Now we'll cut that part. We'll cut it from all four corners because it's really important to cut it nicely, well and nicely. It should be very smooth. All right, we're done with the. I think we're done with the fourth part, and okay, we're done with the fourth part. Now we'll start. This is the thing. We'll start to apply another layer of that glue on the upper layer, just in case if it hasn't mistake. So what if you have noticed, I am not putting as much glue as on the frontal part than I am doing on the backward part, because I want it to stick. It really to have a tension on that surface. It should be smooth and it should be very good. Now we let it dry for a couple of minutes because it should be dried, and then we're gonna apply some gesso on some primer on that ready out canvas, and it's gonna look very smooth and it's gonna look very clean. Uh, Further on, we'll add, this is the part where we make the gesso, the primer that we'll apply on that piece of canvas. So it's the piece of canvas is ready, and we'll apply some. What we'll do is we'll put some glue, adhesive, we call in this case, and we'll put some white cement and we'll put some water. I have refrained myself from using white color because I think the blue and that white cement is already very white. You don't need additional. Why waste that quantity of white color? Instead, don't use it. And this is something I store my white cement in because it won't leak and will slowly and steadily pour. Now you can see the big grains are falling out, but don't worry about it. When you mix it nicely, the big grains are gonna break out and the agglomerate's gonna break out and it's gonna be very smooth and very tidy. So what we'll do next is we'll add some water in it, and well, while adding water, don't add much. I'm adding very little. So let's see the measurements because I have pursued this process for around 3 years. So even my fluke, whatever I add, it gives a nice texture. So you don't follow this. You can accurately measure with the help of a cup or the help of any sort of a container. You're gonna accurately measure what amount of white cement because it should be equal parts. It should be equal 3 parts. All right. So what I have done here is I have blatantly put it the white cement, the adhesive, and the water in it, and because I have been doing this for a long time, I don't require a measuring cup or if I'm putting it, over the time, the experience speaks for itself. And you're gonna mix it with the back of your brush, not with the front of your brush. If you mix it with the front of your brush, the agglomerate of that white cement or that glue is gonna stick inside the brushes. We don't want that. We usually people what I used to do at first is that I used to take that brush and I used to brush it all over the canvas. But now what I do is I don't brush it. I pour it directly. And at first the method is we'll do circles because we'll do in circles. So make sure that it's evenly spread out. You know, you don't want it to be to and fro motion. We want it to be circular motion because circular motion helps in the spreadability of that whole thing over the canvas, and it's spreading out very good, very nicely. And we're gonna continue with those circles. And what we'll do is afterwards we'll add some more white cement. And we don't want any blind spots or any spots by which we can see the canvas directly. There should always be a very thin layer over the canvas. And I know it can't be evenly, or it can't be very even by this method. You can also use a roller brush, which is also effective way, but it's a very messy way. Also, you can wear gloves and your hands if you don't want your hands to be ruined because it's going to be pretty ruined. But I refrain myself from wearing any type of gloves or any type of because I want to work free with my hands. And over the years, I've stopped using any sort of gloves or any sort of layer over my skin, let's say rubber or. But when it comes to applying those primer, it's gonna stick in your hand. So you can use some sort of brush. And when bordering the uh, gesso over the primer over the borders. So we want the borders to be sleek because once the borders are sleek, the borders are ready. You can apply the other parts or the central part. We're gonna evenly spread. Now we are doing the to and fro motions. First, we're gonna refrain ourselves from doing the to and fro motions. First, we'll do circular motions. Then afterwards, we'll do to and fro motion. So make sure it's evenly spreaded over the surface of those canvases. And while doing this, okay, there's some primer over the back of the brush which I have just rubbed off, and now we're covering all the blind spots. Where there was a lot of blind spots where you can see the canvas. Uh, Now we're gonna apply the borders because evenly, if you're not using any sort of uh, frame, so you're gonna paint on borders. And in order to paint those borders, you need some primer over there also. Otherwise, the opacity or the overall color of the uh, acrylic over the primer part and the canvas part won't match. So you'll also apply this primer on those borders. We're going to cover all 4 borders. Alright, we'll see you in the next video, the part 4, in which we'll learn how to uh, paint the canvas after the gesso is applied. And you're going to let that canvas be dried for next 2 to 3 hours until it's very warm. And you're not gonna touch it, because you touch it, the cement on your hand would react, or something in your hand, it's gonna change colors. And you're gonna let it dry in open sun, in hard sun, and it's gonna be very dried. It's going to be very warm. If it's any colder, it's very, if you feel the moist, it means the primer has not fully dried, and you're going to end up ruining your canvas. So you're going to make sure you wait at least 2 to 3 hours. Let it dry. Let it have a very even texture. After which you will use a polish paper. You will polish the uneven sides, so that your canvas is again very smooth. Because sometimes those big agglomerates are still over the. It's gonna create a very wavy or a uneven surface. So you're gonna use a polish paper to make sure that you remove. And while you're using the polish paper, make sure you use a very light hand, a very firm hand, instead of very, because then the primer is going to come right off the canvas, going to leave the canvas, and you will have, there will be no point in applying the primer of the gesso. So we'll see how we do in the next part. We'll paint the canvas. I'll discuss about different type of landscapes and different type of paintings you can paint, and how I have painted over the years. And I'll start with my first and then my latest paintings of what I painted, different type of paintings, what color combination you can use, and what sort of color combination you use while you're painting a day or a night, or simply we'll talk about some very basic stuff, very surface level stuff. We are painting a Monet or a Van Gogh or a Picasso. We are painting for ourselves. We are painting a very simple, so that we can say, okay, we paint, we have a hobby, we paint, and we do this whenever we can, and we know how to. Okay, so I'll meet you in the next video. That will be the part 3 of that series. And thank you very much. Please like, share, and subscribe this video, and I'll meet you in the next one.